is supersonic. Side boosters are now throttling back up to full power.
Reached maximum dynamic pressure.
We're past max Q, the period of maximum loads on the vehicle. Next up, we'll be waiting for the side boosters to begin to throttle down prior to booster engine cutoff and separation 2.5 minutes into flight. GNC trajectory looks good on the Falcon Heavy. Reports show that the M1D engine performance is nominal.
That engine says begun.
Side boosters have begun to throttle down in preparation for the upcoming shutdown in 20 seconds. Major event coming up with side booster shutdown and separation.
Inside shutdown. Side boosters. Beacon. Center. We're throttling up. S1 keeps going. Still booster base box started.
Successful separation. We're coming up on Miko and shutdown.
Stay set. Separation confirmed. Event recognition. This big burn looks good on side boosters. Back burn startup.
Coming up on fairing separation.
Center core side engines on power, also look good. Stage 2 is following nominal trajectory. Separation confirmed. Company is moving to recover now. Booster boost back shutdown. Center core boost back burn shutdown. Can we get acquisition of signal?
Wow. Wow. Did you guys see that? That was awesome. That's the only thing I can really
that was
say
absolutely
right now.
wild. Absolutely wild. I got nothing else.
Oh, man. Recapping all the great things that you just saw there. Successful liftoff from the pad, successful stage separation, but before that, successful booster separation. You can see stage 1. The two side boosters, pardon me, you can see the center core, and you can see MVAC lit up. Oh my gosh.
Then the beautiful shots of Starman chilling in the Tesla Roadster. Just absolutely incredible. On your screen at the moment, you've got a few things happening. On the upper right, you've got MVAC-D continuing its burn. On the upper left, you have the center core headed back towards the autonomous spaceport drone ship. And in the two bottom screens, you've got the side boosters headed back towards Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, landing zones 1 and 2. The next step coming up for the side boosters and the center booster is the re-entry burn. That's going to slow it down from, or slow all the boosters down from way faster than the speed of sound to just faster than the speed of sound, in order to reduce some of those aerodynamic forces and heating that occurs when you're moving that quickly through the atmosphere.
And as you can see on your screen, that re-entry burn for those two side boosters has begun.
Side boosters entry burn shut down. Side core entry burn started.
The center core in the upper left of your screen performing its own re-entry burn. You can see the edge of Cape Canaveral in both of the side booster cameras as those are coming in.
Some PY and NY side boosters have safed.
Center core entry burn shutdown.
And even though those look very similar, those two boosters' views, those are actually representing different boosters. And they're heading towards Earth. They're about to begin their landing burns. We'll hopefully be able to bring you nice footage of that.
Both side boosters transonic.
And watch for the landing legs deploy at the tail end of that landing burn.
And that landing burn has started.
Both boosters looking to be on track towards their respective landing
Boosters
zones.
landing legs have started. Side boosters landing legs have deployed.
And the Falcons have landed.
LZ1, LZ2, both side boosters have touchdown. Landing operators move on to 11.1, recovery 1 and recovery 2.
And coming up very shortly, the Center Core will be attempting its landing on the autonomous spaceport drone ship.
You may also be hearing the second engine cut off. Oh, check on your screen. Sometimes this footage goes out when it
Good evening, Space Cadets or Space Cadetesses. Cadetesses? Is that a thing? I don't know. Hello, good to see you all. If you could put a 1 in the chat if my microphone is coming and audio is coming through crystal clear. If not, if it's too quiet, or you can't hear me at all, let me know in the chat. Number 1 from Kevin. Thank you very much, Kevin. Oh, very funny, Terry. A 4. So it's no good then. Terry can't hear me. That's okay. Well, hopefully my stream won't crash on me. Hey, Terry. I'm sorry. I'm just teasing. Anyway, good to see you all. As we just saw there, I'll go with see who's in. So we've got Terry Davis from Down Under. No, I can't hear you. No, good. Kevin Conrad, my friend Kevin Conrad, always useful for bits of advice. Good to see you, Kevin. Thank you very much for coming. Hey, MJ, Farmer's Boy, another one from Terry's stream. MS Shedler 49, as always. Fred Bailey, good to see you. NANA or Nana or whatever you want to call him. Dora and KU, thank you very much for coming. Good to see you. And who else have we had? Citizen 9, he was here a little while ago. I don't know if he's still here. Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you all. I hope you're all having a good start to 2023. And Roger Rabbit has just joined us. Sorry. It's good to see you as well. So what you just saw there was the Falcon Heavy test back in 2018. Blimey, how time has passed. Yeah, good to see that. So I thought I'd show that because just for the people that don't know what Falcon Heavy is, and if you've lived on Mars and you've never seen that before, then there it is. That's kind of gives you a rough idea of what it's going to be like. And also because I wanted to play it just because, well, it's cool. Because it is. I'm probably going to get clobbered for the music on that, but I don't care. They probably just sort of say, I can't monetize, and that's fine. I don't really care. I was tempted just to edit it and stuff like that, but I know I'm too lazy to go through all that process to stuff that for a game of soldiers. So what have I got for you today? We have got, okay, USSF You're trying to say that when you're drunk. USSF-67, for those of you who don't know, United States Space Force, that stands for. And we have a mission, and it's a government top secret mission. Dun, dun, dun. USS-67 is a mission for the United States Space Force, as I just said, with 2 satellites, including LDPE-3A Rapid Prototype Platform, hosting 5 USSF payloads. What those payloads are, we don't know, and we ain't gonna know, unless you're working for the CIA or something like that, in which case then you might know, in which case then tell us, please. So Falcon Heavy is launching from Launch Complex 39A, as always, in Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It is a Falcon Heavy. For those of you who don't know what Falcon Heavy is, it's from the Falcon family, I guess you might call it. Length of 70 meters, diameter 12.2 meters, launch mass of 1,400 metric tons, and it has a low Earth orbit capacity of 63.8 tons. The Falcon Heavy was manufactured by SpaceX with the first launch in 2018, as we've just seen. Falcon Heavy has 4 successful launches and 0 failures so far. And let's hope it keeps that way. The Falcon Heavy is a variant of the Falcon 9 full thrust launch vehicle and consists of a standard Falcon 9 rocket core, okay, with 2 additional boosters derived from the Falcon 9 first stage. So basically what it is 3 Falcon 9 rockets pushed together, basically. So you've got the core, and then that's built specifically for that, and then 2 strapped on boosters either side of them. Each one having 9 Merlin 1D engines. I hope I got that right. I think it's 9 Merlin 1D engines. Second stage has a single vacuum-rated Merlin 1D engine. Now, the core stage, as I mentioned a moment ago, is not going to land today. That is not going to be recovered. That's going to be crash landed somewhere in the Atlantic. Oh, thank you very much. Just been brought a cup of tea, I think. Oh, no, maybe not. Been brought down in the Atlantic, so that's not going to be landing today. That is expendable. Why is it expendable? Well, reason being is just that this particular mission is going into a geosynchronous orbit, which is a significantly high orbit. So what the rocket needs is it needs quite a lot of delta V, or change in velocity, in order to achieve that orbit. And of course, to achieve that, you need fuel. And of course, it's going to be high velocities, and then with the velocities involved of re-landing that core stage, you're going to need a lot more energy to slow it down again. So the ratio of fuel for actually landing was just going to be too tight, so that's not going to be recovered. As I said before, the core stage, once it's a core stage, it's always a core stage because it's built differently from the rest, as opposed to the boosters or the side boosters. They can actually be converted into a single Falcon 9 if needed be. As we go on to mention, for the geeks among you, the 2 side boosters are B1065 and B1064 and B1065. These 2 were actually used in the last United States Space Force 44 mission, which is one of the ones that I covered, if you remember, back in November. So they are flying for the second time. So they are going to be re-landed back on land at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, not long after that, at what used to be Launch Complex 13 and is now LZ1 and LZ2. And that's what we have today. As I said, can't tell you much about the payload because it will be a bit secret, you see. So there it is. So who have we got? Let's see what we got on the chat. Roger Rabbit, geosynchronous is around 23,000 miles or 35,000 miles, 30,000 kilometers. Yeah, something like that. Thank you very much, Roger. Appreciate it. Farmer said it's your fault. Yeah, no, it's always my fault, Terry. Of course it is. Basics is live. Yeah, I know they're live. I'll go to them in just a minute. Got plenty of time yet. You can hear me down in the kitchen. Am I too loud? Farmer's voices. You can hear me down in the kitchen. Well, come back from the kitchen. He's probably making himself a cup of tea. Like NRO launches, no coverage of the second stage. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kevin, you're absolutely right. We're not going to see the deployment of the second stage or the satellites, because again they're secret. They don't want people seeing all that stuff. So yeah, so we won't be seeing that. So what will happen is SpaceX will, after the landing of the 2 boosters, they will probably end the stream, and of course then that's when I will be ending this stream as well. So those of you new to the channel, please don't hesitate to click on the subscribe button, so then you'll be notified when I go live again or upload some more videos. And if you enjoyed this stream, everybody please hit the like button. That'd be really useful, because that's going to push more people to the stream. So I'd really appreciate that as well. So let me just check on what SpaceX are doing, and then enough of me wittering on. And we have got just over 10 minutes go to launch. So I've got nothing left to say, unless you've got anything, questions, anything burning issues, or anything you want to say, or any problems that might be going on. I don't know. It's been 5 years already. Yes, indeed it has. MS Shedler, thank you very much. Cup of tea, thank you. Just been brought a nice cup of tea. I've been looked after well. Yes, been 5 years. I can't believe how the time has actually gone. Kevin says, liked your video the other day showing the SpaceX OneWeb mission going over the South Pole. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Kevin, if you wouldn't mind putting the link in the channel of that one as well, that'd be really useful if you can put that in the chat. Yeah, I really like that as well. The OneWeb mission last week, it went over the South Pole, and we actually got some footage of the South Pole. It was really good. Thank you, love. Yeah, usually they don't have a coverage over there, so I think SpaceX really did as well. Actually, they really did proud for that. So yeah, really appreciate that. Thanks, Kevin. If you could do that, that'd be really useful. Appreciate that. Kevin's a good friend of mine, and he's a fellow geek and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really good. So let me just have a look, and then I think I will hand over to SpaceX, and let's see what's going on. Enjoy the stream.
Space Systems Command delivers to warfighters integrated and resilient space capabilities through 5 program executive offices. Assured access to space. Procures launch services and delivers on-orbit capabilities faster and more frequently than ever before, while sustaining ranges for the United States Space Force and commercial partners. Battle Management Command, Control and Communication. Delivers tactical and operational command and control capabilities to warfighters, facilitating timely and quality battle space decisions for the joint all-domain fight. Space domain awareness and combat power. Maximizes the full characterization of space using a wide range of multi-domain assets by rapidly detecting potential and real threats to our nation and allies, which enables decisive action in the space domain. Communications and positioning, navigation and timing. Ensures the delivery of resilient capabilities across the acquisition lifecycle, from prototypes to systems on the production line to systems our warfighters have been operating for years. Space sensing. Delivers space-based battle space awareness through missile warning, tracking, environmental monitoring, and tactical intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Our adversaries fully intend to disrupt, degrade, and destroy the U.S. and our allies' ability to access and operate in space. Not on our watch. Space Systems Command is focused on creating and sustaining resilient lethality in space through systems integration, unity of effort, and digital engineering ecosystems. At Space Systems Command, space starts here.
At T-minus 6 minutes and 45 seconds, the SpaceX team continues to count down for launch of our 4th operational Falcon Heavy flight, and all systems are go. Following a successful static fire this past Tuesday, Falcon Heavy rolled out to the pad with the payload at 5:45 a.m. and went vertical about 4.5 hours later. Now, before we began the webcast, the SpaceX launch director...
Booster RP1 load is complete.
The SpaceX launch director polled the members of the launch team and got a go for propellant loading and launch. And we're currently loading propellant on all 3 first stage boosters as well as the second stage. Now you may be able to hear the live rocket sounds from our launch pad. The pops and hissing sounds that you hear are from propellant loading, as well as the launch mount and strong back that the propellant is going through. Falcon Heavy uses two propellants, a refined form of kerosene called RP1, or rocket propellant 1, as a fuel, and LOX, or liquid oxygen, as an oxidizer. Now, an oxidizer is a type of chemical that a fuel requires in order to burn. The liquid oxygen is chilled below its boiling point so that it has a much greater amount of mass per volume. So basically, we can load more of it into the vehicle. Our fuel is RP1, essentially a purified kerosene. It is safe, easily available, and has a lot of history. And in fact, the Saturn V first stage flown from this very pad on the moon missions also used liquid oxygen and kerosene. And in addition to these two propellants, we also use the chemical TTEB, or triethyl aluminum and triethyl borane, as an ignition source. The combustion of RP1 and liquid oxygen is what makes the rocket go, and it's the TTEB that sets the match to the propellant mix. Now, next up, the trusted structure next to the vehicle.
Tanks are pressing for a strong back retract.
And there's that call out just in time. The structure next to the vehicle is called the strong back, or the TE. And in preparation for retraction, the clamp arms will begin to open. There's clamp arms just there that you can see on your screen below the fairing. Those will begin to open up, and once they are fully open...
Back retract in progress.
Once they are fully open, then the TE, or the transporter erector, can begin to retract away from the vehicle, and we did hear that call out that the TE retraction process has begun. Now, as I mentioned earlier, today's launch marks our second Falcon Heavy flight in just 11 weeks. And for those of you following along, a lot will happen in the first 4 minutes of flight. And there you can see on your screen that the clamp arms have begun to open. Once those are fully open, the TE can begin to retract away from the vehicle. Now again, a lot will happen in the first 4 minutes of flight. First, we will light the two side boosters, followed by
booster lock float is complete.
Followed by the center core. Then about 40 seconds after liftoff, we will decrease power on the two side boosters to prepare for max Q, after which Falcon Heavy will throttle back up to full power on the side boosters. Now, 2 minutes into flight, we will...
booster lock float is complete.
2 minutes into flight, we will again reduce thrust on the two side boosters, this time to decrease forces on the rocket structure, as the vehicle is now much lighter, but thrust is constant. Now, 2.5 minutes into flight, we will fully turn off the side boosters with booster engine cutoff, or what we call BECO. The pneumatic separation
Center
system.
core lock float complete.
Getting good calls. I'm going to pause for each one of those. The pneumatic separation system on the center core then unlocks the two side boosters and pushes them away. Now, once we are clear of the side boosters, the center core throttles up to full power until the center core shuts down with main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO, and then separates from the second stage around the 4 minute mark. And as a reminder, we will not be attempting to recover the center core today, as the mission requires more performance. Now, for those of you looking closely, this is why you don't see any landing legs or grid fins on the center core. And from this point on, very similar to a Falcon 9 mission, the side boosters will be making their way back down to Earth for recovery. The fairing will separate, and the second stage will take the USSF-67 payload out into space. Now, as a reminder, at the request of our customer, we will not be showing views of the payload, so we will be ending the webcast just after our side boosters.
Stage 2 lock float complete.
Just after our side boosters make their way back down to land on landing zone 1 and landing zone 2, a little after the T+8 minute mark into flight. And as we've mentioned before, launch is hard, and Falcon Heavy is no exception. We are essentially counting down 3 rockets simultaneously, so our team is going to be conservative in case anything pops up in the last couple minutes of the countdown. Now, if for some reason we don't launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow at the same time. And we did also hear those callouts that propellant loading is now complete on Falcon Heavy.
Gas closeouts.
So we are now going to vent out the liquid oxygen line on the transporter erector. Next up will be Falcon Heavy in startup, and that will be at the T-1 minute mark. That's where the internal flight computers take over the launch countdown.
Falcon Heavy is in startup.
And great news, Falcon Heavy now in startup. We're now just waiting for the final call from the launch director.
This is the mission director. Go for launch.
And excellent news, all systems are go for launch of Falcon Heavy with USSF-67.
T-minus 30 seconds. Seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine full power. And liftoff of USSF-67. Go Falcon Heavy. Go Space Force. Chamber pressures are nominal.
T plus 40 seconds into flight under the power of 5 million pounds of thrust.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Falcon Heavy is headed to space. Now we did throttle down the engines around the T plus 40 second
Vehicle
mark.
Supersonic.
In preparation for max Q.
Max Q.
And great call out there that we have passed through max Q. That's the largest mechanical stress on the vehicle on ascent. And incredible, incredible views there on your screen. Falcon Heavy in flight. Now next events coming up will be booster engine cutoff or BECO, followed by separation of the side boosters and followed by their side booster boost back burns. And then will be center core main engine cutoff or what we call MECO. Again, those events coming up here just under a minute away. That will be BECO. That's where the side boosters engines will shut down. The center core will push those side boosters away from the vehicle. Then those two side boosters can begin to make their way back down to Earth with their boost back burns. And on your right-hand screen, you could see the views from each of those side boosters. Really incredible views here. Again, we will have BECO, side booster, boost back burn, followed by main engine cutoff of the center core here in just a few seconds.
Side booster separation. Side core booster startup.
Incredible views. We just had BECO and separation of the side boosters, and you can see on your left-hand screen that the side boosters have lit back up. They are now in their boost back burn, making their way back down to Earth. Now, those side boosters are returning to Florida under the power of 3 engines. That's 3 of the 9 M1D engines. So next up will be the conclusion. Next up will be the conclusion of those side booster boost back burns, followed by MECO on the center core, as well as stage separation of the center core and the second stage, and then SES-1 or second stage engine start 1. Now, as I mentioned previously, per the request of our customer, we won't be showing second stage views after SES-1. And additionally, our center core or stage 1 is expendable today, so we will not be attempting to recover that vehicle, but we should have some great views like we are seeing right now.
Core, boost back, shut down.
We should have some great views of those side boosters touching down for landing.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC startup.
And excellent views. We had the
Stage 1 FTSSA has safed.
We did have the shutdown of the boost back burn. We did have the shutdown of the boost back burns on the side boosters as well as MECO on that center core and stage separation. We are waiting for confirmation of a call out of the fairing separation.
All vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
So currently stage 2 is still making its way to its targeted drop-off orbit, while the side boosters are making their way back down to land. Again, these side boosters have another burn coming up. That will be the entry burn. That will be 3 of 9 M1D engines reigniting. That helps to slow the boosters down in preparation or as they re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. We got some views here from those side boosters there on your screen. Now, at the time of separation, the side boosters were traveling slow enough to turn around and make their way back to land, to our side-by-side landing pads. If we have successful landings today, we'll mark the 163rd and 164th landing of an orbital class rocket. As I mentioned earlier, the center core will be expendable, and we are not attempting to recover it today.
Side core entry burn startup.
And there you can see on your screen, the entry burns for these side boosters have begun. They're just about 12 seconds long.
PY FTS has saved and NY FTS has saved.
And the entry burns for both side boosters have now concluded. Now next up will be the final burn for each of these side boosters. That is the landing burn. It is just a single engine burn, the center E9 engine. Each one of these M1D engines have about 190,000 pounds of thrust. So that is enough to slow the vehicle down just in time for landing. And you could see the coast of Florida in the background.
Side boosters are transonic.
Now that landing burn coming up here in just about 20 seconds or so. Landing burn will last about 20 seconds long. Again, we are scheduled to land on landing zone 1 and landing zone 2.
Landing burn.
And there are those landing burns have begun on the side boosters, so let's watch as they touch down.
Stage 2 is on thermal guidance. Stage 2 FTS is saved. Booster landing leg deployed.
And what an incredible sight to see as we watch the side boosters touch down for landing. That confirms successful landing of both Falcon Heavy side boosters on landing zone 1 and landing zone 2. Now with these two side boosters, this marks the 163rd and 164th overall successful landing of an orbital class rocket. It's also the 25th landing on landing zone 1 and the 6th landing on landing zone 2. And with successful confirmation of our side boosters landing, that will bring today's webcast to a close.
Insertion.
Now, we'd like to thank the United States Space Force for entrusting us with today's mission. Thank you to the Range and the Federal Aviation Administration for licensing today's launch. And we'd like to thank all of you, our viewers, for tuning in. Now, if you're interested, head over to our website and social media platforms for updates on our next missions and milestones. We hope that you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again soon.
Well, there we are. There it is. Oh, let me just turn off my audio. Oh, it is off. Why can't I hear myself? Oh, let's just do that. There we go. That's better. Sorry, I don't like to hear myself while I'm talking. It's very off-putting. Yeah, so there we go. Another Falcon Heavy landing. Launch and landing. So all done. So yeah, that's it. Very short, I know. It's not like a lot of other Falcon 9 launches like Starlink and things like that, where you see the deployment, because it's classified payload, we're not going to see all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, so there it is. So pretty short. So yeah, I've got a few other things up and coming shortly. I mean, let me just bring those up so to remind me of what's coming. We have got let me get it up first in case that I actually waffle, which is probably what I'm doing right now. So what have we got next? We have got, let me see, well, originally, I think it's actually been changed. The next spacewalk on the ISS, EVA-84, I've got it down as the 31st of January, but I think I saw somewhere that is now the 20th of January. So we got that coming up as well. So that's already listed on my channel. I shall put the link of that into the chat now. So that will be coming up. Again, that, as I said, that could change. I think it's going to be the 20th of January. I need to check up on that. What else have we got? We have got another thing coming, a couple of other things coming up. We've also got Crew 6, which I believe was scheduled for the 19th of February. But that wasn't put in stone at least a few days ago, so I need to check up on that as well. So I will most definitely be live streaming that. I always said that I'll be in terms of the live streaming with launches, I'll be live streaming the sort of the most interesting ones that go of interest, and any ones that really they've got any humans on board. Those are sort of things that I was going to be live streaming. So we've also got that as well. So please look out for that. The other thing as well, I wanted to ask a bit of your help. Okay, and I'm thinking of actually doing. Global Mum says Res Rhetoric and AI did a great job tracking the launch. Oh, that Res Rhetoric always does some great footage of these. He does this stuff on an amateur basis with a camera. I think he uses a P900, doesn't he, Global Mum, or P1000, I believe. And he also has a friend of his that has a tracking system. So you can actually track the rocket as it flies away really, really well as well. So yeah, Red's Rhetoric. If you don't know who it is, he's got the name in the chat there. Global Mom, go and check him out. Subscribe, and he does some really good amateur footage of that as well. So that's really good. So yeah, that last link there I posted there was for SpaceX Crew 6. Okay, so that's the next Falcon Dragon launch to the ISS. As I said, was scheduled again for the 19th of February, but again, that might have already changed as well, because that was also predetermined. So that's the two next things we've got coming up as well. Anything else coming up, obviously I will be putting them on the channel. And really, that's all that is it from me. And to say all to stay is thank you very much for joining me. I know it was a bit short, but thank you very much. And I shall see you the next time. Take care.